Hey everybody, welcome to GMG Review. Today I'm taking a look at the Blackstone Fortress Annual for 2019. This basically collects all of the rules that were for Blackstone Fortress and White Dwarf, giving us access to them after the magazine goes out of print. And in addition, adds a bunch of new Retinue characters, ways of playing the game, and several new quests. So on top of Escalation, this is going to give you so much Blackstone Fortress content, you should be playing the game basically forever, and there's a bunch of different ways for actually playing it as well, including an Army of One mode where you just play as a Harlequin solitaire. So let's dive in right now. I'm not going to ruin the back half of the book. I don't want to go through the new quests because there's lots of spoilery stuff in there. If you look at the quest layouts and stuff, you're gonna not be as surprised. I'm going to focus mainly on just the expanded hostile player rules, the abominable intellect stuff, and then the new precipice rules for going to the shadows, playing as a strike force with less than 4 players, and then the Army of One and Retinue characters and stuff, because they're really the interesting add-ons here. So expanded rules for hostile players, basically what this allows you to do is give the hostile player, if you have one, we typically just allow the AI to play, but if there's a 5-player game happening, it just gives them a little more agency to hostile player, because really all they're doing in the core mechanics of the game is rolling dice to see what the monsters do. So it's just like an extra person, and they don't have a lot of agency in controlling stuff. What's cool here is this adds a new way of using Destiny dice, where when Destiny dice gets spent, they become bad guy dice. They basically get added in and taken over by the hostile player and can be used as well for a bunch of new abilities, like the Fortress Whispers. You can modify reinforcement roll. Raging Blows, choose a hostile, make an attack with them. New Orders, choose one hostile after behavior roll's been made and re-roll it. So basically when you spend your Destiny dice, they go into a pool basically for the Blackstone Fortress, the hostile player, and become hostile, and they can be spent on all these different abilities. And I like that because even though you're still just basically rolling to see what the monsters do, you can tweak it by making them reroll. You can give people the ability to fight again. It gives you just a little bit more friction between the hostile player and the other players, and makes this a bit more of a head-to-head experience. So I think it's a valuable optional set of rules to play with if you're using a hostile player. And then Abominable Intellect. This is basically just, if you haven't seen my review of the Abominable Intellect cards when I reviewed Escalation, this basically just gives you an idea on how and why they were written, and to give you the sort of the brains behind why they did it that way. And also talking about explorer archetypes and how the explorers were designed with certain things in mind. Things like tanks, where UR-25 and Gottfried de Montbard are basically designed to soak up damage while inflicting some. People who are damage dealers. They mentioned Pius Vorn and Naam Shemarad, the rogue trader, as being damage dealers. And don't mention Amelin Shadow Guide. I don't know why, because Amelin Shadow Guide is the most killy piece in all of the adventure sets, I'm pretty sure still. And then supporting characters. People who are a good example of that is Locarno, modifying Destiny dice and stuff like that. They're an excellent sort of add-on to the crew, but they don't necessarily do a bunch of stuff themselves. And then yeah, so just additional, bonus things here that the bad guys can do. Leader points. Everybody fights, somebody quits. And then go on a precipice and doing extra stuff. So when you go back to precipice, you can go and trade as normal with your ships, or you can go to the shadows. The helmsman, the trading post, or the gambling den. So instead of going to the ships to trade, your hero can go off to precipice itself. And each of these 4 locations give you additional things you can do. So the shadows, you visit the shadows, you roll Blackstone dice and see what happens. On a 1, you're murdered. Fail a defense roll for the explorer. Sorry, make a defense roll and it's failed. You're killed in the same manner as if you failed a recovery roll. What? So going to the shadows is scary. On a 2 to 5, you can be mugged. This is on D20, remember. The explorer discards an architect card and suffers a grievous wound. If they cannot discard it, they suffer 2 grievous wounds. 6 to 10, failed attack, you suffer a wound and draw a discovery card. 11 to 15, deranged bargain. The explorer draws a discovery card. And this can actually allow you to potentially die when you go back to precipice. So the idea here is that it's after you finish your adventure before you recover. So you still technically have all the wounds on you, and you could get killed going slumming basically when you're going to these various locations. Yeah, deranged bargain, get 2 discovery, so draw a discovery card. Rare find, draw 3 and then return 2. And then 20 diamond in the rough, draw 2 discovery cards. So if you want to just get extra monies basically, the Shadow's kind of a cool place to go. The helmsman's a bar. It's to visit the helmsman and roll the Blackstone dice and apply the results. If you're Janus Drake, Taddy's Purifier, Esperin Locarno, or Amulet Shadow Guide, you can re-roll, because apparently you're good at drinking, I guess, or you're just bar savvy. I mean, it's weird Taddy's the Purifier is in that list. The rest I can kind of see. 1, caught in your cups. Make a vitality roll. If the vitality roll has failed, the explorer's killed in the same manner as if they failed a recovery roll. So you just get drunk and get murdered by somebody. Bar brawl, suffer a wound. Swindled, discard an Archeo card. Otherwise, if they can't, there's no effect. Shady deal, the explorer can discard Archeo card. If they do, they receive 1 clue card. So if there's no clue cards in the discovery deck, the explorer receives an inspiration point instead. 16 to 19, challenge to a duel. Make a weapon action for the explorer at any range. If attack roll results as success or critical success, they draw cards from the discovery deck until they draw an Archeo card. They keep that card and return the other cards to the discovery deck, and then shuffle the deck. They also receive a clue card from the discovery deck automatically. If there's no clues, they receive inspiration. If the rolls have failed, they take a grievous wound. Keep taking weapon actions above until the explorer receives a clue card or is out of action. So you just keep shooting until somebody dies. You go straight Han Solo, fighting Greedo. 20, right time, right place. Get 2 clue cards. If there's no clue cards in the discovery deck, the explorer receives 2 inspiration points instead. So that's cool. So this one's all about discovery cards. This one's all about clue cards. And the trading post. When you visit the trading post, choose 3 spacecraft, shuffle each of their sets of resource cards separately, and then deal 1 card from each to make a precipice board, basically. These are available at the trading post. You get a random mix of equipment from the different ships. Then, roll a die. So you treat these cards if their value is too lower than what's printed in the card. So 6 becomes a 4, 4 becomes a 2, to a minimum of 1. I guess they get cheaper too because people don't know what they're worth. If they purchase a resource card, discard the other 2 resource cards, then roll the Blackstone dice and apply the result below. So you only get to buy 1 of them. So on a 1 to 5, a bad deal gone wrong. It's worthless. It's a knockoff and not the real deal. You have to discard it. 6 to 15, a rare deal. Sorry, the real deal. It's genuine article and you can keep it. And 16 to 20, it's a truly cool find. The first time the next expedition that would be discarded or exhausted, it's not. So it's a 2-use item if it's a 1-use item. It's like a double melta bomb or something. And you roll the die if you're Janus Drake or Rain and Rouse. In addition, if the explorer is a rogue trader, they can discard 1 of the resource cards and draw from the discovery deck until they draw an Archeo card. They keep that card and return all the other cards to the bottom of the discovery deck. And then you can go to the gambling den. If you do so, you must pick up the 3 Archeo cards to gamble with. These cards are your stake. Once you've done this, roll the Blackstone dice and apply the result from the table below. So you put your stake down, and then on a 1, you caught me cheating, make an agility roll or you're killed. 2 to 5, you discard your stake because you had bad luck. 6 to 10, the house always wins. Discard a randomly selected Archeo card from your stake and then keep the remaining ones. 11 to 15, broke even. The explorer draws a number of discovery cards equal to the number of cards in their stake, and then they discard the same number of cards from their stake and or the cards they just drew. They keep the remaining cards, so basically you pick the best ones. 16 to 19, up on your luck. The explorer draws a number of discovery cards equal to the number of cards in their stake. They discard 1 of those cards and keep the remaining ones. They are also chased out of the den by the furious owners and suffer a wound. And then 20, the Emperor's own luck. The explorer draws and keeps the number of discovery cards equal to the number of cards in your stake. They also suffer 1 grievous wound as they are accused of cheating and dealt with accordingly. That one's just bad. And then you get your strike first rules here. So this is if you want to play with 2, 3, or a hostile player. So basically an expedition between 2 and 4 explorers, and the expedition has 4 explorers, follow the normal rules. If it has 2 or 3, follow the rules below. For 2, each player picks an explorer to control, then the leader can pick a 3rd. If 3rd explorer is chosen during the expedition, whoever's leader controls that explorer. For 3 players, each player picks 1 explorer. And for a hostile player, a player can decide to be the hostile player and control any hostiles they encounter during an expedition. Any player apart from the leader can be the hostile player instead. In leader order, each player picks the explorer they wish to control. Rain and Rest counts as a single choice. Put the remaining one back in the box. And then use the following additional rules. Destiny phase, after rolling Destiny dice, roll the activation dice that would normally be used by the explorers that are not being used. And you get to add them. So basically, if you would have 3 explorers, you get 2 extra fate dice. 2 explorers, 4 extra fate dice. And they go into your Destiny pool. And then an army of 1. All right, so this is if you want to just not use 2, 3 explorers, you can choose to be the Solitaire instead. No spacecraft. You pick an unused explorer initiative card to represent the Solitaire. Note that some exploration cards require more than 1 explorer. If one of these is drawn, draw a different card. When setting up an expedition during the stage, pick the Solitaire and you get no other players. But someone can be the hostile player. And then hardly a challenge. When making event rolls, use the falling table instead of the combat booklet one. So you basically get a crazy different solo play one. So on a 1, bring it down, make an attack with every hostile. That's line of sight to the explorer. 2 to 3, unfulfilled destiny, no destiny roll. 4 to 5, wave after wave. If possible, every hostile that's been slain is returned to the table. 7 to 10, dangerous conditions. Draw 2 encounter cards and apply the twists. Deadly escape. The portal arrives. Inspiration, get an inspiration point. No limit to my slaughter. The explorer can move and then make an weapon action. And then 20, get a discovery card. And then you get the solitaire card. And this guy is just bananas. So the reason it's an army of 1, look at what this guy can do. So move 5, defense double D12, agility double D12, vitality D8. His Harlequin's Kiss is on a 1+. He has no range weapons at all, but the Kiss is on a 1+. It's a D6 and a D12. Monofilamental Liquefier. If an attack with a Harlequin's Kiss inflicts a wound or grievous wound, double the damage. Just all the time. And then Heart Thief with Harlequin's Caress, it's a D8. If the attack was a critical success, just kill them. They just die because it pulls out their heart. And then special rules are, if you spend one of his dice, he only has 4 dice, right? Plus the Destiny pool. If you spend one of his dice to move, instead of taking it away, reduce its value by 2. So he can spend all of his dice on moves and almost an unlimited amount of time, up to 3 times each, basically. If it goes to 0, it finally goes away. So all 6s can be used 3 times to move with. Yeah, impossible agility. When a move action takes the solitaire, is taken by the solitaire, it does not have to halt when it moves next to an adjacent hostile. In addition, it can move through X's occupied by hostiles, but cannot move on top of them. Dance of Death, when the activation roll is made, they can reroll their dice, because just, why not? Hall of Fields, when move action was taken with the solitaire, hostiles can't treat the visible unless they're within 3 hexes. So anytime they would like react to them within 3, you have to be within 3 to do it. And then his secret agenda is take 4 move actions and slay a hostile after each move action in the same activation phase. And then he inspires and becomes this. All of his weapon stats go up. Everything else stays the same. Like, he's just bananas. Like, just insane. I don't know what the math turns out to be, but like, as long as you roll 1-6, you're moving at least 3 times on that single 6. Plus you have whatever your Destiny pool is. Plus you have the other dice to move and do more attack actions. And like the Harlequin's Kiss just kills most everything. Like on a basic hit you do 2 damage. So everything that's 2 damage or less you're just gonna kill. Anytime you roll a crit you do 6 damage. It's madness. And then your Retinue Characters. This is fun. This is probably how I'm gonna get back into recording some Blackstone Fortress. So I'm gonna start by, because you can do side quests anytime basically to try and find these guys and unlock them. I'm gonna do all the side quests. And there's 4 new Retinue Characters on top of the server that comes in escalation. And whenever you do the side quests, there's no expedition discovery cards. You can't draw them. You never do anything except for find these characters. There's no legacy or trading. Nothing goes back in or out of your vault. And running out of time, the search action cannot be used to recruit new characters. So first is the Brogan brothers. There's Gren Knuckles Brogan with his Ripper Gun. And there's Dorg the Wall Brogan, and they have the same. You find them both for 1 quest, basically. This guy's hilarious. So he's moved 2, defense a D8, agility D6, vitality D12. His Ripper Gun is D12, D8, and then D6. And he's got the Buried in Lead rule. For 1, if the target of this weapon action is adjacent next to Gren Knuckles Brogan, reroll any action dice that result in a failure. So basically, if you're right next to somebody, he just unloads lead on you. He has the Whatever You Say rule. Do not roll activation dice for him. He makes 3 actions in the following in any order. Ripper Gun, Move, Recuperate. And you can only take these actions if he starts his activation in a hex adjacent to the explorers controlled by the leader. If he does not, you have to go to Where's the Boss. He's huge, so nobody else can be in the same square as him. And that, sorry, hex rather. And Where's the Boss? He makes 3 move actions, after which his activation ends, and they have to be towards the leader. So that's his thing. He has 5 wounds. Now, he becomes inspired immediately if the leader takes a grievous wound. And when that happens, he gets the Leave the Boss Alone special rule. Gren Knuckles Brogan takes up to 3 Ripper Gun actions. Again, the target the nearest visible hostile after his activation ends. If there's no hostiles visible to him, he must instead take 3 move actions after which his activation ends. Each of these move actions must take him closer to the explorer that's the leader. If he ends in an action in a hex adjacent to explorer controlled by the leader, his activation ends. If at the start of his activation there's no hostile enemies visible to him, he cannot take a move action. It takes him closer. He takes no actions. His activation ends. And then whatever you say. He gets to take 4 actions now in any order: Ripper Gun, Move, Recuperate. And he's huge. So basically, if you're hurting the boss, he freaks out and murders the boss, and he becomes 2d12, d12, d6 when he's shooting up close. He's bananas good at fighting. And then Dorg the Wall Brogan, he's move 2, defense d12, agility d6. He's like the definition of a tank. Vitality d12, and he's huge. Nobody else can be in this hex. His battle maul is 2d8, and he has a crushing blow. If an attack with the battle maul inflicts a wound or grievous wound on a target, place an additional wound counter, because you just crush that guy. And then keep it simple. Do not roll an activation dice for Dorg the Wall Brogan. Instead, he will take up to 2 actions: battle maul, move, recuperate, or guard. And he's huge. Guard, after Dorg the Wall Brogan takes this action, reroll failed defense rolls for him until the next time he's activated or is taken out of action. In addition, he can make a battle maul weapon action against the first hostile that moves Jason Newman the turn in which he took his action. So he basically goes into like melee Overwatch and rerolls his defense dice, which is awesome. And then Secret Agenda, during an expedition, slay a hostile with a battle wall weapon during that hostile group's activation. So if he kills somebody defensively, he inspires. And then his stats stay the same, but his battle wall goes to 2d12, and he gets a shield slam attack. The crushing roll is the same. Battered into senselessness. If an attack roll of this weapon is successful, the target's stunned, in addition to any wounds they suffer, because he slams with his shield. And then keep it simple, he gets to take 2 actions: battle maul, move, recuperate, guard, or shield slam, and then he's huge. And he still has guard. He's pretty simple, but pretty awesome. And then you get their mission. Dorg's last stand. I'm not going to ruin it. Pennant 707. So if you have a Arco-Flagellant character from the Sisters of Battle Blocks, you can use this guy's rules. He's move 2, defense d6, agility d6, vitality d8. He has no weapon actions because he's unactivated, which I think is awesome. And he's got 4 things. He's a living weapon, no activation dice. He can take 3 move or recuperate actions. And the Secret Agenda, the leader can choose to inspire him after spending an activation dice for any action if there are any hostile visible to the explorer in the battlefield. So he can say his trigger word. And then he becomes a living weapon. No activation rolls for him. He can take up to 4 of the following actions: move, Arco Flails. And he's got 2d8 in his Arco Flails. When it makes a move action, it must always move closer to the nearest hostile. If it's adjacent to a hostile, it will not make a move action. In addition, it never gains inspiration. And it's a berserk killing machine. Do not make defense rolls for Pennant 707. Pennant 707 does not receive the benefit of cover. Combat stims, reroll failed attack rolls for Pennant 707. And then Pacifier Helm, if there's no hostiles in the battlefield after an action, turn Pennant 707's retinue character back to its Secret Agenda side. If this happens, ends activation. So as soon as he can't see anybody, so as soon as all of them are dead, he just goes back to dormant, basically, and can start moving again. I think he's not great, but he's super characterful for what an Arco-Flagellant would be. And then his thing. And then Scarburn Zapdaka, an orc, which is awesome. You get to get a freebooter. Defense d8, agility d6, vitality d8, and he's huge as well. He's got his snaz gun, which is d8, d12, d8. With unbridled firepower, when this retinue character makes a weapon action, draw a line of sight to the target, then make an attack roll against each explorer and hostile and each hex through which the line of sight was drawn, including the hex which contains the target. So basically, he can shoot huge groups of dudes, but don't stand in the path of his gun because it's going to be terrible. Special rules: Wah, do not roll activation dice for him. Instead, he'll take up to 3 actions, the following in any order: snaz gun, move, and recuperate. If his hostile is visible, he must take the snaz gun weapon action. He can't stop him from shooting. And then he has Daka, and that, even if it hurts you. Then he has Daka Daka Daka. After Scarburn's Zapdaka's activation's over, roll the Blackstone dice. If he made any snaz gun actions, on a 1, apply a grievous wound to him. On a 20, he takes the snaz gun weapon action again because he just won't stop shooting because he's an orc. And he's huge. And he inspires. This explorer kills 2 hostiles with a single weapon action, taking the explorer out of action with a weapon action counts as killing a hostile. So even if he kills a friend, he inspires. And then his stats stay the same as his vitality goes to d12. His snaz gun becomes d12, 2d8, d12, and he still has the unbridled firepower, Daka Daka Daka, and Wah. It's all the same. It's hilarious. Except, sorry, Daka 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 changed a little bit. On a 1 to 3, he takes a grievous wound. On an 18 to 20, he takes his snaz gun action again because he just gets more shooty as time goes on. And then he has his unlock, his Zazdak, his rampage or whatever. There's some color section stuff, all the new characters and the old characters. And then, of course, the Solitaire. What's great is I literally have 2 Ogren miniatures left from the box of 3 that I got to make Mr. Bubbles for Necromunda. So I'm going to convert these 2 guys. I have the Aircraft Flagellant, who I'll paint as well. I just have to get this Flash Kit and this Solitaire, so I'll have all the characters now available for Warhammer Quest. And then, bummer, I gave these to Owen, and I'm pretty sure he got rid of them. I don't have a Master Possession or the Greater Possessed. If anyone's not using these, kicking around, let me know, because I want to do these. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a quest with rules for these. I'll show you the rules for them in the back, actually. I'm not going to show the quest. Astrath Mithrak, he's an evil character. It's a new big bad, Master Possession. And he's pretty killy. He's got 10 wounds, move 2, and he's huge with a 4-staven bolt pistol. And I'm not going to ruin too much because he's a big bad. He's got a story in here. And then Greater Possessed, who are 2d12. Oh my god, they're terrifying. Move 3, wounds 12, size huge. And every time you wound them on a 17 plus, it's just negated. Just horrifying. And that's it. Again, there's a whole bunch of quest stuff in here, but I don't want to ruin it. Basically, there's 3 quest lines. Light in the Dark, which gives you the Traitor's Fane from White Dwarf, and the 2 new ones are Deadly Lure and Wrath of the Demonkin, which has the new characters in it. So it's interesting. I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's basically 2 new big quests to play through in the annual as well. So lots of new content for Blackstone Fortress. I think it's all valuable content. I love seeing 40k miniatures drawn in and given some life as well. This is a classic Hero Quest / Warhammer Quest / Talisman even trope from the old days that I'm glad to see back with Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress. And I really do think this adds a ton of valuable content to your game. So if you are a big fan of Blackstone Fortress, definitely pick this up, because 1, you get all the stuff you're missing from White Dwarf, and 2, you're going to get a bunch of access to new characters, new ways of playing the game. I love the Retinue Characters, and I'm just stoked to be able to paint more stuff for this particular game. So thanks for watching. We'll see you for the GMG review in the future. Thanks, I'm Ash. Have a good one. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Deathray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.